I have not been filing our sales tax on a regular basis is I work another job. So pretty much I'm sometimes serving in the morning too, and serving in the afternoon, and I'm just asking your guys' leniency. It's we have a better system now. I have two new staff that are really helping me out. I don't have to work in the morning anymore. So pretty much the reason that we have had on hold is like I just could not get to file our license on time. But now that I have two adult staff that are helping me, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, everything has been all good now. So.
So even on the malt beverage, you're buying from the distributors?
So the malt, nobody has told us that we cannot buy from the beer company.
Yeah, no,
So yeah,
through the malt, they can do distributorships, right?
Yeah.
That's perfectly acceptable.
Right.
yeah. So I'm still buying from Bison, from Quality, and all those. Mhm. From
Thank
all
you.
those groups. Thank you.
Can you reassure us this, we won't see one of these again?
Yes, I totally understand. I know
And I understand the dilemma you're in with surgeries and whatnot.
yeah,
you know.
it's been a bad year in general for us. So moving forward, I can reassure you that things are gonna be okay from moving forward.
Well, you could get verbal with Don some night,
Oh, there he is.
I'm sorry, I'm being addressed.
You were sleeping back there.
It is past my bedtime.
It is Camo.
Well, thank you for sharing that, seriously. Yeah, I pondered what our recourse was, and I didn't like the outcome, so that's why I asked the question. And I appreciate your answer.
Candy, the information we have here, was that, when was that presented, I guess? Obviously in the, probably a crossover of when it was paid versus now it's not, I mean.
So this was emailed to me, on February 4th.
Yeah, that's what,
And so she says she was cleared up on the 30th. So
right,
there may have just been that delay between the liquor division and the Department of
okay,
Revenue.
okay. That's what I wanted to hear, because, it's one of those things where, is it getting hung up somewhere,
Yeah,
what's happening?
I'm assuming, yeah, it was between that 30th and the 4th was just that communication between those two state departments.
Well, and there's a weekend in there too, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yep, and not to be the cynic, but those are proof of payment as well? It's a cynic, it's a cop in me.
No.
Okay, so we're just relying on a word that this is done.
I just have that sales tax notice release.
What I'm saying is, we're just relying on her word saying this payment was made, that's all we have. This is the first time deal that we've dealt with this,
No,
with this particular
well,
store.
it's pretty regular.
I'm a new council member, so I want to make sure I get all the background accurately before I make any decisions. That's why I'm asking questions that are pertinent to this, what's going on currently. So it's a consistent issue in the past, and we don't have validation that the payment was actually made.
So,
Am I accurate in that statement?
yes, so this is what happens between a business and the sales tax division, what I've been told is that's confidential. So the sales tax division does not tell me what her payment plan is, what anything like that.
Just,
The information I receive is from the liquor division. So by the time it went from sales tax to the liquor division to the town of Wheatland. So all I know is they released her.
They have released her.
Yes.
Okay, that's what. Okay.
Makes voting a little easier.
is there any other, comment with the retail liquor license grouping? Hearing none, did we make a motion?
No,
We didn't
no,
make a motion.
no.
We're ready for a motion.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the retail liquor licenses for the Landmark Bar, Vimbo's Restaurant and Bar, Commodore Bar, I-25 Liquor, Safeway, Thrifty Foods, Big Dogs Lanes, and Guadalajara.
I'd second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion at this time? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Opposed.
Motion will still carry.
Yeah.
Moving on to the bar and grill liquor license grouping to include Windy Peaks Brewery and Steakhouse and Skipper's Lounge. Is there anybody here to speak for or against the bar and liquor license grouping? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the bar and grill liquor license grouping.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And lastly, we have the microbrewery grouping to include Windy Peaks Brewery and Steakhouse. Anybody here to speak for or against the microbrewery grouping? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the microbrewery grouping.
Make a motion to approve the microbrewery for Windy Peaks Brewery and Steakhouse.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. Do we need a motion to go back into the regular meeting?
You're just done with the public
This
hearing.
is done with the public hearing at 7:46 or whatever, and we'll reconvene the regularly scheduled council meeting.
And I don't know if Michelle didn't understand that she could keep talking after you were done, but she left me a note and I assumed, she's gonna have somebody contact me tomorrow. And so, that's the note she left me, and so. She might have not understood that you were gonna continue having a conversation with her about it when we went into the public hearing, so. That's all I can tell you.
I thought I made it clear that we would continue.
Yeah.
So Mayor, can I say something too on that whole thing? I apologize for my outburst, but we had a week of the name calling of my staff, which I felt was not okay. The two employees that she was wanting not appointed or fired, never had a complaint on either of them, ever. It was a lot, and I apologize for my unprofessional outburst, as she called me. So I apologize for that, but there was a lot of he said, she said, and it's a lot of conversations that were months and months ago. And we were aware of the project in front of her, and it was within the easement, and it was well planned out.
And I would like to say one thing on what she said about her driveway being tore up. This is what I can guarantee you, that as a water and wastewater operator for the town of Wheatland, if I would have known that her driveway is gonna be tore up, it doesn't matter what the engineers are gonna do and stuff, I'm gonna go to that business and make sure that they're aware of it, so that ball does not get dropped. And to actually validate my thing, I was just out of Bob just the other day talking about his water meter on the 16th Street project, because he has 2 meters. And I was confirming with him whether or not he wanted the 1, or if he wanted to go back to 2 meters, and that was just last week. So I do follow up on projects, anything that has to do with water and wastewater. If it's gonna affect a business, whether or not the engineers or the contractors or whatever, I make sure that the public knows. These are my people that I take care of, so I wanna make sure they're understood if they're gonna be an inconvenience. So, and there was no reason to tear up her driveway. That was not gonna happen. The water line extended past that.
So did you bore under it, or did they bore under it?
The line passed it. We didn't have to,
It started on the other side of it.
Oh, okay, right.
yeah, so.
Plus, there was 3 readings on this project too.
Well, and that's what I tried to explain is, I mean, we only have a handful of things at our disposal to get that public information out there, short of expecting the staff to make phone calls, which we don't regularly do.
Well, what we can do is we can do a written policy on the calls, on the delinquent calls, on the shut-off calls. What we'll do is we'll make sure all of you have that, and we'll just get something in writing on the calls. But,
To add lib into the ordinance.
no,
I
that
think
it-
internal
Just
rules.
the administrative
Yeah,
policy.
Oh,
it
okay.
doesn't need to be an ordinance.
Okay.
Something Brandon brought up, I think we need to explore a little bit is, okay, we send a delinquent letter out and say you don't get your mail, whatever. How do we get, can we put it on our application or whatever it is, where we use an email system as well?
So,
I mean, cover our
I'm
bases
like,
instead of that
how
single
about
point of failure.
okay, so I'm gonna address it a little bit. She signed up for Express Bill Pay because she paid her bill online. They email, they send out emails and
Okay,
everything,
okay.
saying that, so if your payment failed, they'll email you saying your payment failed. I don't know if they email you and saying that you're delinquent, probably not, but we send out the letters saying,
Right,
it's on your bill, twice on your bill, it's on Express Bill Pay when you log in.
okay.
I don't know how else to get it out.
I was gonna say, could we explore with Express Bill Pay and see if if we check the box, what the charge is for that to generate a
Right.
delinquent email, the same as it does the bill and.
Yeah,
Right.
we'd
I mean,
have to look
I
into that.
bet
I don't
that's an
know if it
option
works
with
like
Bill Pay.
that.
Yeah, I mean, even
We
just to
should try
explore it, and if we can't, we can't. But that's, eliminating that single point of failure if someone doesn't go get their mail or, say they're not on Express Bill Pay.
But, yeah, so,
I do know that the Express Bill Pay does work when your mom has to get a new bank card. And the bank card that was attached to it doesn't work anymore. Express Bill Pay sends emails.
I can tell you that too.
And your mom ignores emails for 2 months and gets service disconnect notices and loses her mind and calls son to fix it for her, so.
Yeah.
There were mistakes made on our side, and we acknowledge
course.
that. We've met, we've talked about it, and so I'm,
Absolutely, and as far as I'm concerned, kudos, you guys took care of it. I mean, it plainly says in black and white that, assumption of, the mistakes that were made, it's been remediated, you had a meeting on it, you've got a plan in place to not duplicate it. Beautiful.
And I do like the fact that if, something is going to be shut out, like what you talked about, Rick, the work order goes out, that's the only, they're not making the extra contact. We can't do that for every single
No,
house in town or business.
Well,
in
it
town.
creates that preferential
Absolutely it
treatment.
does.
I mean, perception's a powerful thing, and I mean, it's
Right.
black and white, got a work order, we'll shut it off.
Yep.
And I mean, darn, I'm sorry if you think you're more important than the next guy. An
Right.
unpaid bill is an unpaid bill as far as the business end of it goes.
Exactly right.
It takes
Exactly
away
right.
any indication of preferential treatment at all by just doing it by the numbers.
Right.
There's no bias involved, it's just A and B.
Yep.
So I think they made the right call with that one, it is.
And it's tough, exactly what, for reasons she said, we all went to school together, we all know each other, it's a small town, but at the end of the day, business is business, and, thank you for accepting that and making that a protocol. Thank you very much for that, because it's hard, I mean, especially if it's a family or a friend or somebody or went to school with, I mean, yeah.
Well, in Brian's defense, he always called everybody. He never showed preference. We had 5 shut-offs that day, and I know he called every single one of them. 2 of them took care of it right away. One was later in the afternoon, and then Michelle's, of course, and one he didn't do anything. We shut him off, and it's never that we're not gonna shut the water off. What he was trying to do is, like I said, we go shut somebody's water off, and all of a sudden they see us out the window, and we gotta pay it. Well, we're driving away. Within that half hour, we're somewhere else, and then the city hall calls me and said, we'll go turn them back on because they paid the bill, so then you drive all the way back, turn on. That's all that was for. We were never gonna shut them off. That was never you got a disconnect notice, so go pay your bill. And that's what it was. But we don't do that anymore. You get the work order, you drive out, you shut it off, wait till city hall calls back.
Right. And that's our burden. I mean, if we have to drive back and turn it right back on, that's our burden.
Yep.
To me, that's how it should be ran.
How you pay the big bucks.
But I do want to express kudos on that express bill payment, because I have been out of town and the bill has came. Yeah, I did receive a phone call. It was cordial, but now I'm signed up on express bill pay, so I don't have to worry about.
I'm just on Express Bill, You don't even have to tell them to pay it, they just pay it?
No, it's recurring.
Just set up.
Right.
You set
Is
up
she
the
on
date
that
and
now?
the time.
I believe that's what Tabitha just said.
She signed up for it, but she's not on auto pay.
Okay, so
So
you can
you
sign
just-
up without auto pay, but your
Absolutely.
bill comes to your
It'd
email.
be easier if everybody, if she signed up on auto pay,
Yeah.
especially since it's just water.
Right, yeah. 'Cause they don't
Well,
have
it's
the
the
full
whole bill.
utility package.
What?
It's the whole utility.
In your case, it is. With Michelle, it's just.
She does not,
only has
we
three.
serve REA, that was REA territory.
Okay. But even that, I did wanna comment to her, if you got hot water heat. You know, that's up to her to keep the water on.
Right.
That is a big ass building. You
Yeah.
know that.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of water.
Yes, it does.
Nothing against her, nothing against Fred, you know, just. I'm sorry. Just look at it, turn. Shut up, Boo.
Okay.
All right, so, moving on to agenda item number 2, under this section is, Mr. Ruart, and, you're here for Blue Mountain Car Show, it says?
Yes. So I just wanted to, well, thank you for letting me talk to you tonight. This gentleman here is Kevin McBride. He and Ally started the Blue Mountain Car Show back in 2000, and there was 5 years of the Blue Mountain Show, and I participated in the show as being a sponsor, and I feel that it's been a really good thing, a fact for Platte County. It is amazing the amount of cars that have showed up and everything. But there's going to be FEMA changes because Ally is no longer going to be with the car show. She's actually moving. So Kevin wanted to ask you folks a few questions tonight if we try to move this forward. So I'll give the floor to Kevin.
Excellent, thank you.
Hi there, my name is Kevin McBride. I was the president of Blue Mountain Car Show for the last 5 years. Blue Mountain has been dissolved, so I guess I'm no longer president.
Former.
So, what we would like, why Bob and I are here tonight is, does the city of Wheatland wish us to continue this event? That's the primary question. Is it good for the community? That kind of things. You don't have to answer tonight, but.
Well, I think we can answer tonight. I think that answer is absolutely.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank you very much for that.
It generates a ton of interest, and it gets people downtown, and there's a lot of dollars turned over at
What a
restaurants.
gathering.
Yeah, it's one thing that has been done and done well the past 5 years in town, and absolutely would love to see that continue.
It only takes 1 year to put it together, so it's okay. So, what we would like to name it the Wheatland Car Show, if that's okay with the city. I have to go through the protocol. You know how protocol is. I can't just use your name without your approval. So, if we can call it the Wheatland Car Show, because Blue Mountain is defunct, we would like something from you. Would you like a logo for Wheatland on our brochures and everything else we do? And if you would like something like that, what logo would you like? Would you like the 3 rocks out front? Would you like this one here in front of me? What would you like? This you can get back to us on. We're not printing things for a little while yet. So there's a question for you. What would the city of Wheatland like to do with us to make this show go forward? In the past, you have provided barricades, which we really appreciate and wouldn't mind continuing with. We have decided between Bob and I that our group that we're going to donate money to, depending on how much we income, will be your volunteer fire department. And I see that you're trying to buy a new ladder truck, so this may help. At least buy gas, something. Is the location that we had to show in acceptable to the city to continue in that location? Or is there a preferable place you would rather? That it's not full of dirt, that impressive cars don't wanna park on anyway.
You're right.
No, I think
I think it's the best surface.
I think the venue is where it's at, yeah.
Okay, these are all little things I have to, because we're starting from scratch this year.
Sure.
This is all brand new. So we may be in front of you again before the show happens, and either thanking or condemning you, we haven't decided. Is there anything you want to ask of us before we go forward?
So the one question that I have is,
Oh,
Is-
19th Street.
yes,
I
for,
forgot.
you know, just to keep this in the back of your mind this year, because the 16th Street project
16th.
is gonna start in April, and 16th Street's gonna be tore up. And I don't know how you folks are gonna look at closing off 9th Street, in fact, throughout the summer, but that might have to be a discussion to have, because if 16th Street is, you know, I'm not sure, you know, until we get further plans of how the, you know, the routing is going to be. That's just a thought, but, we were talking about June,
June 28th.
June
We
28th.
moved the date because we were up against 5 other car shows the date we had. And our best count for cars was 168. Last year was 130 because because everybody shuffled because the when 4th of July was. So we want to get that count back up to you. We also want to create a walking poker run
That's cool.
with the businesses involved in that area. That'll get people at least into businesses to look. Oh, and according to what Bob just said, the street in front of his business will be tore up. We usually do a Friday night thing there for registration and food and things like that. We're curious how we're going to be affected by the construction happening.
Could you utilize City Park for that?
No, well, maybe.
For like the registration
I haven't
sign?
thought about that for Friday night.
yes,
Give a
City
direction.
Park might be, yeah.
That
Okay.
throws the park into play too.
Sure, we'd love to do something like that.
We're gonna look at,
You know, Lewis,
all this-
Derringer's gonna be.
Yeah,
the
Derringer's gonna be
construction
toured
Oh,
too.
that's
so-
right.
one downfall's gonna be some of those speed bumps and those cars, depending on how low they are.
I get it, but
In
you
the
mentioned
future-
it down to
Right
8th,
there.
instead
In the
of-
future,
you go
please
through
let
the
Bob
middle.
know if you come up with a venue you'd rather use.
Yeah.
We don't need to know today, we've got a couple of months to put this together.
Park would work well.
I don't know, I mean, I would like the vision to be that we absolutely will continue with barricades and, lend the support and, bolster the trash cans and
Oh, that,
You know,
I
give
forgot
you
about
the-
that one, that was wonderful.
give you the venue that you're used to downtown. Certainly 16th Street will play into that, but we can detour for a car show for a day around, you know, that route, because it's been an annual thing for 5 years, and I think it's been a wonderful thing for 5 years. People anticipate it, they talk about it,
So I guess
go
I'm
to
president.
it, so yeah, I mean, the continuation of it, you're gonna get nothing but from support from me, and I think everybody else is sitting here nodding, saying the same thing, so.
Just for full disclosure, Bob and I get absolutely nothing out of this. We are not paid to do this job, this is all volunteer stuff, and I'm not even from here. But we'll make it happen again with your support, and we appreciate that.
Is it gonna be a single day thing event?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that
Well, it'll be a
Saturday?
Friday night, kind of a registration thing, we
Right.
might have some food. I have a band if you really want one, but it's a Saturday. It's
Just
Saturday, June 28th is the event.
Right.
Yep, and then I have another question. So, you know, the Kiwanis Club used to be the club that, that came out to the dealership on Friday nights, and they were able to get a
Liquor.
license to be able to sell beer out there,
Malt beverage permit.
malt beverage. So if we do something out at the park, I think the park is a great idea. Thank you.
Can somebody like the Wheatland Car Show apply for a 1-day permit or 2-day permit for something like that?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
And you just do that with
Just candy. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
And we'll arrange our beer distributors and stuff, unless there's something here that,
You have to go through the distributors, you have to go
Yeah.
just like Orson or.
Yeah,
And I'm attached to the 24-hour permit, I put a contact list where you can get by the beer.
I love that.
Yep.
Thank you. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep us up to date. I mean, if there's other things that you run into that you need from us, let us know.
Yeah, in fact, one of the concerns that was in the back of my mind this year was the construction on 16th Street. And I think if we skip a year, that it'd be tough to get it back. So I think we need to keep charging forward. And I think it's been a wonderful thing for the town. So.
And if any of you people are car guys, I talked with Ryan Evans with Counting Cars this year, and he's willing to come back to the show. So, but we're not bringing Mike with. Mike was unpleasant.
Who?
Yeah, Mike's not.
Pony Mike from Counting Cars?
Yeah, no more Mike.
No more Mike.
No more
Mike
Mike.
was
No more Mike.
a little more foul-mouthed than we needed for this show. Yep. So, and if you have, I'm also trying to get a cartoonist. You ever seen Tundra cartoons? I've only known him for about 30 years. Chad Carpenter, he lives in Anchorage, and I'm trying to get him to come. And I'm trying to get the Wienermobile too, but that's just me.
We have all kinds of ideas.
Yeah, no, roll with it.
How
All
about
right.
the Idaho potato vehicle? Don't they have a?
They have a big potato truck. But
Oh,
what
a
are we
truck.
what are we gonna serve with serving tons of baked potatoes or French fries?
French fries. Chris.
Well, the Wienermobile has a caveat, you gotta serve Oscar Mayer
Oh,
hot dogs while they're here. And if we can get the hot dogs and get the 4-H kids to sell them, I think that'd be a perfect thing. So, we have a lot of plans, and like I said, we're starting fresh, so let's call them 60% will come true.
Sure. We have a lot of work to do. So. But we wanted to talk to you about it. So.
No, thank you.
we
You have our
appreciate that.
At
support.
least we're not asking for money.
Yet.
Thank you, gentlemen, we're gonna get out of your way.
There might be a 69 road runner in
Getting closer.
there. Yeah. Still, we still have the last.
We're not gonna take this.
I'm gonna drive it.
Thank you.
Mike showing it. Mike and Bob here.
All right, Tracy, public comment section. This is you.
Okay, here we go. I think maybe I was remiss when I sent out my economic report this month. And then right after I sent it, I got Christy Ritz's sales and use tax collections. So I just made you a new one that includes all the way through February. And chances are, Kim, you probably already give them this information, do you? Christie's little sales and tax, but I wanted it to be as accurate as possible. So I included through February.
When I get to, when I receive her email, then I will forward it.
Okay, so, yeah, because I didn't have that, I got it right after I sent it, so, well, I'll just include that. So, there wasn't a lot of movement on the economic wellness report. The things that I did notice that I guess maybe would be worthy of pointing out is our enrollment for the school district was down just a little bit. But then again, I don't know, I talked to Peggy Succo the other day and now they have kids moving in. So, that happens. I think, especially at the beginning of the year, people are moving and enrolling their kids to start the school year and stuff. So it kind of depends on when their school year is over, or their semester is over. Everybody kind of ends. Some kids come back after Christmas and they have a week or two after Christmas. So I think those folks want to, finish the year where they were. So we'll see what happens with numbers next month, but they were a little bit down to start the semester. And then our housing report, there were 13 houses for sale according to Zillow, and last month there were 9 houses for sale. So there's not a lot of houses for sale in Wheeling. And this is just Wheeling proper. I don't include the outlying areas in that. I do the boundary map on Zillow. And then construction report, there wasn't a lot of change there. An employment report, both Platte County and the state of Wyoming reported a little bit of an increase in unemployment, in the unemployment rate. So that was the wellness report. I did see some of you folks at the Charles Hoskinson Town Hall the other night. That was interesting. One thing that he mentioned that I thought I'd just kind of put a little bug in your ear about is he did mention that they don't have a liquor license currently, because they don't have a building, right? They don't have a business going in there. So I know that the first year that they had that building, that the liquor license was held for them, and then they didn't do anything with the building. So the liquor license, was, I don't know.
They let it go.
They
had a bar and grill license and they let it go.
Right. So, but he did mention that the other day, that they don't currently hold one. And so, which, for good reason, I mean, they don't have anything going on. But when, in all that list, I didn't know is if they were to go ahead and fix that building back up, is there going to be one available?
All that's available is there's one bar and grill available and there's unlimited restaurants. There's no retail liquor licenses available.
Okay.
But there is one bar and grill.
Okay, and I just thought that'd be good information for me to know.
Yep. And that's what they used to have was a bar and grill. That's what Hilltop had and then Nestle's had, was a
Okay.
bar and grill.
Perfect. So, yeah, so just maybe something to keep in mind that you might see them again come back. So, then the next night was the Ag Appreciation Banquet, so kind of a busy weekend in Wheeling, and that was well attended, and I enjoyed that. I went to that, and that was a good time, and lots of people, good meal. I wanted to also let you know that on April 25th, we'll be having our Total Spring Show that Platte County Economic Development has sponsored for the last couple of years. And I think this is our 4th annual. So that's Friday, April 25th from 10 to 4. And I'll keep reminding you, and you'll start seeing things go out. We're in the planning phases right now in terms of just sending out our information to vendors and everything. But we'll hope for good weather, and it'll be kind of great to be heading into spring then. So April 25th from 10 to 4. Other than that, I think that was all I had for you. The information that I also attached to the email on the data, I was hoping that Platte County data, I was hoping that would be helpful. Because I get some kind of random questions. That the other day I was meeting with the Goshen County Economic Development Director, and he asked me if I knew how many people commuted in and out of Wheatland and Platte County, and I said, oh gosh, I don't know. I said I have this big packet of data, and so we went through it, and sure enough, that was in there. And so it just has some kind of random things in there, but sometimes you get these random questions, and I thought, well, you might get those kinds of questions as well. So hopefully that data is helpful. If there's anything I can do for you, or do you have any questions for me now?
Oh, geez.
Okay. If you don't have anything else, I'm around. Give me a call or send me an email or whatever I can help you with.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thanks for coming, Cheyenne, everything.
You and Will had to divide and conquer on Saturday, didn't you?
We did. He went to the fireman.
Like, I was weird at the fireman's thing too, so.
Yeah, we did. We had to divide and conquer. It was a busy weekend.
Yeah. I made
And then Super Bowl last night.
Made an hour at the egg and then went to the fireman's.
Well, good. That's awesome. I think that means a lot for people to see you. And yeah, I think it's great that you represent the town. And, yeah, awesome.
Is there any other public comment at this time? would say that we got a couple of notes in our packet. One, a thank you to the water department. I don't know, Rick, did you get to see that?
I did.
For you and the professionalism of your crew, taking care of things in cold and inclement weather. The other one is for the electric department. Gotta laugh at Marty in the way that he conveys his message.
That's why I just printed it, just how they.
Well, and it started with him yelling across the street at me because he was at his rental across the street and he was, is it wrong if I ask you for Preston's phone number? Because I think this is my problem, but I want to verify that it is my problem. But I mean, you know, Marty was very pleased with the level of service that he got from the town employees. And I guess this is as good a time as any because we're in a public comment section. I, as mayor, feel like we have an excellent group of town employees from the department heads down. I don't know that there's one that I am uncomfortable with. I mean, I don't micromanage, and if I don't hear from them, everything is golden, and they know that. But they also know that if they need something, call, stop by, text, whatever. And I mean, it's an open door with me, and it's a very easy, fun place to be right now because we are very well staffed and very fortunate to be where we're at, from the ladies here all the way down. And I know we heard some negativity tonight, but I think that's pretty isolated. I think you're going to find that most people are like the Martys and the accolades that Rick and his department get with these kind of thank yous as opposed to the other. And you know, Rick, you're the one that's here, and the chief. Thank you guys for that because you make our jobs a lot easier and more palatable for us when it's working as well as it's working. And thank you for your part. Thank you. So if there's no other public comment, we'll move on to unfinished business item number 1. I believe we have Ray here to walk us through unfinished business item number 1, which is an update on the Black Mountain water tank.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, members of council. I'm gonna see if I can,
Did we get the technology figured out?
we got something figured out.
We don't know if it's the technology
It's not really
or
assuring.
something, but
Certainly something, we have something.
that's
Yes, I think we've got it.
You know, last time we seen you, you didn't have this gray here.
I would say that it's because I had 4 kids since then, but they've been around for a while. So,
I have that influence on people.
yes, it is mostly Rick. So I can say that all the positive things that were said about the town staff were all accurate. My experience with all of them has been nothing but wonderful, except Rick.
I can see that.
Just,
We all have to have one
It's
bulldog,
because he doesn't
right?
like those peanut butter jelly.
that's right, it's because I tried to get him to try a new burger once.
That's just disgusting.
And
You didn't try it?
I did.
he ate the whole thing. So this presentation Landmark created for us, they actually created it, it's just kind of their template. But the intent was to give it to you before the project started, and then there was elections and turnovers and all the different things. And so here we are in the middle of the tank construction to just kind of go through the process, go through what you've seen already and what to expect in the next couple of months. So Landmark is the company that's building the tank. They've been on site. They hit the ground running in early November, and they haven't stopped since. So I will figure out. There we go. I might take this as well, so that I can kind of zoom.
all right.
If I sit, just
Yeah,
make it easier to do all the things.
Is Landmark the Indiana outfit or the Kentucky?
So these guys are actually out of Texas, but they're nationwide. So the project manager that we're working with is out of Central Illinois. The guys that are actually doing the work right now are out of Texas. The guys that did the foundation work are out of Texas. The steel is coming from Mobile, Alabama. So it's just kind of all over the place.
So what do they think of our windy season?
I'll tell you today, they did a lift and they were cold, and they think they're going to do another concrete lift tomorrow and it's going to be colder, and then they think they're going to do another one Wednesday and it's going to be even colder.
Yeah, I was gonna say, our temperature's falling right now.
See, I know for let's see, the middle of last month, it was warmer here than it was in Texas.
Mhm.
So, you know, it was like a tropical paradise for them. But yeah, they're not as far along as they want it to be because I don't think the wind, they can't, you know, with that giant crane, those forms are just huge sails. And so anything over 30, 35 miles an hour, they shut down. So
Good to hear.
yes, yeah, they're being very safe.
Turn your brain off.
Yeah, I know, right?
So
I hear crane in 35, and I'm like, no.
yes, they're tying people off. Our inspector worked for Caterpillar for a long time, and he was their safety guy. So he is the safest person you'll ever meet, and he has good things to say about them. So so we have completed most of the civil phases on the project. Right now they're in the pedestal phase. The pedestal is just the concrete stand that eventually the water tank is going to sit on. There won't be any water with the exception of what's in the pipe in this section right here. Everything will be stored up on the top. So this is the cross-sectional view. You can see all the piping for the tank will be inside the concrete pedestal. There will be, these are the ladders with the rest areas to go up, piping, a bunch of other things in there. So this was how the foundation was constructed. They dug a big hole in the ground and poured, 120 yards of concrete, and I don't know how many thousands of pounds of rebar are in there, but it's big enough to support a 500,000 gallon water tank 120 feet in the air. So it's a pretty big section through there. So then from that point, they came in, they've erected their crane tower that you've all seen. And then they do the first 2 lifts that has all the doorways, all the penetrations for all the pipes, all of those different things. Those take a little bit longer than the lifts that they're on right now. Significantly more rebar in those first couple of sections. Then as they move up, the reinforcement goes to a wire mesh once they get through those first 2 lifts. There is a test panel for anyone that's driven out there so they can make sure that the concrete mix that they're getting from Kroll it's going to look right. It's going to be uniform. It's going to be the way that it needs to be. So that's sitting out there on the site. And so they'll use the exact same mix of concrete so that every lift looks the same, so that, you know, there's no weird color variations. And you'd be amazed at how much we talked about that, more than I thought you would talk about that on the tank project. The forms that they use, they're reinforced, so they've got spray foam insulation essentially in there, and they're fiberglass faced to them, and they have that relief so that there's something to look at besides just a concrete cylinder going up. On the inside, they have 2 forced air heaters that run 24/7 after the concrete's been poured before they take the forms off and jump them, as they call them. So that's how they keep the heat on the inside. You know, concrete has its own heat. So really, until it gets into the negative temperatures, they're not really concerned about temperature, just with the system that they have. Obviously, the wind throws things a little bit for a loop. I just heard today that they had to replace all of their tarps because they were just shredded. And those, if you'd heard about trash on the site, it's the insulation from inside the tarps. The tarps had completely torn apart, and so it had the foam came out and was shredded and was blowing all over the place. So they had guys out the last couple of days trying to get as much as they could, and then they sent the rest to Nebraska. So that was trying to find that stuff. It was something they had not anticipated. They
call that neighborly love.
That's right. Their office, like I said, they called wondering why they were replacing all the tarps. Those tarps are supposed to last through multiple projects, and it didn't make it through half of this one. So the wind. Yes, exactly. We do. There's concrete quality control on every lift, so they pour the concrete testers pour test cylinders that they do a 24-hour test, they do a 3-day test, a 7-day test, and then a 28-day test, just to make sure that they're getting the compressive strength. In addition to that, in every lift, they have a remote monitor, so they can tell the temperature inside, and then some other voodoo that tells them the approximate strength in the concrete. So they have that just on their phones. They can look at it and say, okay, well, we've got the strength in there to be able to pull these forms off and jump them to the next lift. Then in addition to that, they do a spud test, which is to just take the end of a spud bar and hit the concrete, and if it's still too green, they leave it. So they're kind of a belt and suspenders operation, but that's what you want when you've got 500,000 gallons of water sitting on top of this. So this is just more pictures showing jumping the forms, the different things they do. They use the crane to lift up these buckets of their concrete and pour inside these forms. That way they're making sure that they're getting enough concrete in all the places. They vibrate all the concrete. It's a pretty well-oiled machine watching them work through there. Now, what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks is they're actually going to have another crane come in, and they'll take the crane off and add a few sections to raise it up. They'll jump the crane as well. They're about halfway right now, and if anyone's looked lately, the crane is not twice as high, so they've got to add a few more sections, and they just wanted to make sure that with the wind and everything else that they didn't have too much crane up there. So that'll happen here over the next couple of weeks. After that, they've got 5 more lifts of the concrete pillar before they'll put the dome on there. At that point, they'll remove the crane, install all the forms on the inside, as this picture kind of shows here. Let's see if I can zoom in on that. Nope. So trust me, there's a little tiny picture of some forms right there. But then they'll pour that dome, and then from there on the inside, they'll start dismantling their interior structure. And as they start to dismantle their interior structure, they are installing the piping, installing the ladders and all that. So they work from the top down at that point, so that they have the work structure. And it's a 360-degree structure. It's actually pretty impressive to see. There was a picture. Yeah, I mean, it's a plywood platform that fills up the entire interior for the guys to work on. So no fall hazards or anything like that. As they go up this structure, there's oh my gosh, landings every 24 feet. So I don't know, it sounds like you might be an OSHA guy, but yeah, they're doing everything they can to make sure everyone's safe and secure inside the structure. So the fun part, they actually weld the steel tank on the ground. So this gray with the yellow band through it represents what the steel tank will look like. They'll come in and they'll weld it 360 degrees around the tank, and then they'll lift that tank. They'll weld it together. They'll do most of the coating, and then they'll jack it up into place. You can see here this sequence shows how they get it up. Then once they get it into place, they'll have their welders secure it to a ring. The ring beam that's at the top, it's got concrete, welding, all sorts of fun things. And then that piece will be secure. They'll finish installing the roof and the tank, and then all the safety things on the top, and then we will have a tank. So right now they're still on schedule. There's just things are going slower than they anticipated, but they did in their schedule. They had planned until the end of March for the concrete pedestal, so they're still doing okay. We expect steel to get on site there early April, and they'll start to just be working on this portion here of welding the tank pieces together and starting the coating. The coating will have to happen late summer. It's got to be as hot and dry as possible, and as few any sort of rainstorm will just obviously ruin it. So they're still on time and should be operational by the end of October, which is the end of their contract. So that's my presentation, and I'm ready for hopefully any questions.
Is this a PDF presentation?
Pardon?
Is this a PDF?
Yes, sir.
Did you send it to us?
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I actually, it's on a jump drive and Candy can just have it. So, yeah.
My other question, I guess, safety-wise for our crews, is there lad safe involved in the ladders inside?
Yes. So I don't have the exact submittal, but they have the climb fall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Lad safe. That's
Yeah.
perfect. That's perfect.
It's, I don't remember which specific one they have, but it's better than the ones in Casper that are like, it's more of a hazard.
I
climbing
promise
up
you it's
those
better than
things.
the ones on the white towers we have.
Yeah, yes. Yep. So they have that, and then they'll have the landings the 30-foot landings, whatever the spacing is required. Yep, so they meet all of those requirements. And then actually a question I was asked the other day. So on these pictures, this is actually the access tube to get to the top of the tank. That's what this little blue guy here is. So once you get to the top of the ladder inside, there's a platform. So you can go into the tank. There's a little hatch that when they drain the tank, you can get in there for maintenance. You can also access it from the top. But then to get to the top, there's this access tube with a ladder, obviously.
Oh, awesome.
It goes up, and then at the top, there's a big platform, handrails, and all the
Complete secure environment. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Miles ahead.
that's how they'll access it for any future maintenance on lights, painting, whatever anyone needs to get up there for.
I thought maybe those rest platforms, because Rick's getting older and he needed a break every so
Well, I
often.
guarantee you that's true.
He asked for additional ones.
That's why I don't climb that other tower.
So
I ain't gonna climb 100 feet straight up and not have a resting platform.
he wanted an elevator, but
You wanted an elevator. Yeah, that's awesome. That's very good.
yeah, it'll be great for the town.
What do we have to worry about, like temperature-wise? I guess once it's constructed, obviously.
500,000 gallons of water is a lot to freeze.
Yeah, and the structure itself.
Yeah.
And all that, I mean, everything is.
And so inside the tank is insulated. There's heat trace on the pipe. So I mean, that's if you're going to have any sort of failure, it would be the 8-inch line going in.
Right.
You know, it takes a lot of cold
Yeah.
to freeze the 14-inch line, but they do insulate them. Like I said, they have heat trace on them inside the tank. To avoid any sort of like temperature stratification, there's a mixer that just runs 24/7 and just moves enough around so that you've got good consistent temperature. Right. So, yeah, these guys have built a few cold weather tanks. They know what they're doing.
I just know we get lots of questions on. We're going to sustain this. We're going to sustain that.
Yeah. Yes, sir. What else?
On time, that's all.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. They've been great to work with. I
Good.
mean,
And you having good experience with them, Rick?
Yep.
Good.
The guy that did the base, I chatted with him every single day and top notch, and then I met the guy that's on the column part. I haven't talked to him every day because I don't go inside there anymore. I just take pictures on a daily basis, go up and check it on it. But I actually don't go in. I haven't actually been inside there yet since they started building that column. So.
they actually requested that we just keep Rick out of there.
We painted a red ring.
Picture of Rick with the circuit.
If I don't make it home, it's him.
You may make it home, you may not make it back, though.
No red line and no Rick zone.
Anybody else?
A lot of love here.
Yeah, you're done.
Well, and if anyone has any questions on it, feel free to give me a call. We've got a guy here every day watching, making sure that they're doing everything that they're supposed to, and these guys they're good. They're professionals. They're not trying to cut corners. So it's nice to just be able to trust but verify. And we are actually, we're working, we have not gotten pricing back, but we are working to get the Wheatland Bulldog and the Steamboat painted on there.
Sweet.
So,
That'll save the world.
as far as orientation was concerned, we were thinking having the Bulldog point towards town and the Bucking Horse and Rider kind of, as you're coming up from the south, you can, that'd be what you'd see on the tank.
Yeah.
I don't know if council has any other ideas on that, but yeah.
So he's getting pricing on that because that was not included in the original pricing and grant funds will not pay for that. So that's something that.
But it was included, we did include it in the bid, so we had an increase on the force account so that it was captured, so that the money that was allocated, it would not be in addition to that, so you wouldn't have to come up with additional money for it, it's already part of the project, yes.
Beautiful.
So it's there, we just don't know what the cost is going to be yet, so we're just, I've learned more about Pantone colors and all these different things that I didn't know anything about because these guys want to make sure that they get it accurate so that we don't have a pink bulldog up there because I gave them the wrong color or something like that, so, yeah. It's been good, so hopefully we'll have that here.
So is the electrical bid out?
They actually, that's something I need to work with Candy and Rick on, is they've included the electrical in their project, but they want to hire a local electrician. They got numbers from an electrician that they've used in the past, I think on the Cheyenne tank they just did last year, but their preference would be to have somebody local, so, I know we had spoken about it and I just need to get contact information, so. 'Cause they wanna be able to reach out to a couple different contractors and just make sure that they're getting good pricing.
Cool. Thank you for the update.
Absolutely, thanks for having me.
Glad to see you again.
That's nice to see you all.
Rick doesn't think so.
I do enjoy working with Rick.
You sure, or are you just sitting by?
I was sitting back there earlier.
You also enjoy root canals.
I'd rather put peanut butter on a hamburger or jelly on a hamburger just isn't in the right mind anyway.
I didn't do it, the restaurant did it.
You ordered it. You ordered it, he said, I mean, you didn't waste no time saying that, you ordered it.
Well, Candy brought it up.
I
Can't believe
saw
she-
it on the menu.
she went there, I can't believe she went there.
Oh, I didn't order that.
That's just a disgusting thing.
It's like Elvis burger or something.
I don't remember what they call it.
Junk. Nasty.
So we have ordinance number 853, under unfinished business, which will be on its third and final reading tonight, which is updating the Wheatland Municipal Code uses requiring a special use permit. I don't believe there's any changes to it since, the second reading.
No changes.
I think both of you newer guys or new guys probably have followed this, and I mean, if you've got questions, but I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion? If there isn't, let's entertain a motion to approve ordinance 853 on its third and final reading.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 853 in its third and final reading.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on ordinance 853? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. Also likewise, ordinance 854 is on third reading. And it's the rezone of multiple properties to just, I'm trying to remember exactly what Doug wants to, but it's just cleaning up and kind of bringing everything to a level playing field. I would entertain a motion for ordinance 854
Right, they reconnected.
on third and final
That's part
reading.
of their project.
So do make motion on ordinance 854, rezoning multiple properties in the town of Wheatland, more particularly described below. I'm
Second.
not gonna read them.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on ordinance 854?
The valves.
Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion will carry. New business, item number 1 is the cost proposal for the environmental monitoring and reporting for Tri-Hydro Corporation. And this is out at the landfill, or the old landfill, the cap on the old landfill. Is there any major changes to it? It looks pretty much the same to me.
It's $23,190 and it's $446 lower than the 2024.
Lower, wow.
Lower.
Who knew?
Yeah. And so this is to monitor our landfill, and we will, I've worked here for 8 years, I think we have 22 more years to go.
22 more years of this.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel, is what you're saying.
Not for most of us.
Not quite a third of the way through it, but we'll get there.
That's called a train.
So I would ask for a motion to accept the cost proposal for environmental monitoring and reporting by Tri-Hydro Corporation.
So moved.
It's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. You have resolution number 3 of 2025, a resolution in support of an application to the WWDC for a level 2 feasibility study.
Mayor, would you like me to speak to this a little bit?
Absolutely.
So we had applied for a level 3 construction grant through the Wyoming Water Development Commission to replace well number 3. And we were denied that. The recommendation was to come back and do a feasibility study. And so what they will do is they will do a study to review the location for additional wells. So where we need an additional well. They didn't want to just go drill that well. They wanted to do a study to make sure that we're drilling in the appropriate place. And on this one, what is kind of nice is it will drill a test well. And if we end up going with that test well, our next round of application is we only pay for like 50% of that. So this application is for the feasibility study for the wells. But it's a 1.5 year long process. I'm sure Ray has been through this. We submit the grant application, it's due March 1st. And then the commission reviews it in November. Then it goes to the legislature. And then there's a consulting selection process in front of a committee. So the engineers will submit their proposals to do the project. And then the committee selects the consultant. You guys do that. They select the consultant. But there's a 0% match on this. There's no match on this. But if we go with the test drill, it's already started for us. So it's a good thing. But it's just a long process. It's a long process.
So in this, what you're saying in this long process is if Ray does his homework right, we get to saddle Rick with Ray for another 1.5 years with
Yes.
another project.
Yeah.
I'm in, let's go.
My vote's decided.
You know, that's almost.
That's a
Being
cherry
Ray,
right there.
being Ray.
That was a cherry on the ice, I guess.
Rick, are you glad you came tonight, buddy?
I like Ray.
Keep telling yourself that.
Keep telling myself.
Ray's my buddy.
So you just need us to approve the resolution and have the mayor sign, is that the idea?
Correct.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 03-2025, resolution in support of an application to the WWDC for a level 2 feasibility study.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then I think to finalize the business, we need a motion for the mayor to authorize and sign the loan for the purchase of the ladder truck.
I move that the mayor finalizes and signs the application for the fire truck as presented to us.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And with that, no further business will adjourn with the scheduled next meeting being on March 10th at 7 o'clock. And at this time, no workshop scheduled.